sorry that you even have to watch this video, because most likely you have a resident that's a headache, right? Somebody that's not paying rent, that has an unauthorized bulldog, aka an emotional support animal that's not an emotional support animal, or destroying the property or having loud parties. There's so many things that could happen. I'm so sorry if you're getting taken advantage by a professional resident. And to me, a professional resident is somebody that's not a good person, right? Taking advantage of you as the self-managing landlord. It is imperative that you treat your investment property as an asset and not a liability. It is a business. You need to be the CEO of your 123 Ash Street. And so with that, you need to abide to the lease. Don't have that emotional attachment. That's great, but it's a business. It needs to make money and not be a liability. You are still providing habitable housing to your residents. So let's work together. Let's create a win-all. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. So what happens if a resident is not paying on time? What do? Number one, communicate. I would recommend communicating in writing, unless you have a call recording where they understand that the call is being recorded and you could record and document every single conversation. Because the last thing you want to do is show up to court after you waited 6 months to get there and Joe Smo says, well, my landlord said I didn't have to pay rent because my mother passed away. So they said I could have 6 months, and that happened on our phone call on January 1st. Or my landlord said I only needed to pay $1,000 of my $3,000 of rent because that's what they said and they're nice people. And so that's what I've been doing, said judge. See my $1,000 payment? You do not want that to happen. So document, record. If you are a two-way street, both parties need to know that this call is being recorded, right? And so that is why I always recommend putting everything in writing, sending those emails, posting those notices. So look at your lease. What does it say? Rent's due on the 1st, late on the 3rd. If not, they don't pay rent, go post a notice on the 4th. If you still don't hear from them, make sure, hey, do I want to move forward with an eviction? It's your choice. Maybe you just know that they're always going to be late, but at least they're not 30 days late. So you'd rather have something than nothing. That's your choice. But what you do for one, you do for all, and you need to be consistent. If you allow them to always pay on the 10th and you don't charge that late fee as to said lease, then the judge could say, well, yeah, the contract says the 3rd, but the 10th is when you've been allowing and you've never charged them according to this ledger a late fee. So therefore the residents are right. You guys had a verbal understanding that, yeah, rent's due on the 10th, not the 3rd anymore. What would a judge say? Always think about that. And just understand that San Diego is 100% resident friendly versus landlord friendly. They want us to fail. So that is why we need to always treat it as a business and document. If I know that I am going to evict a resident, which beyond property management evictions rate is less than 0.1%. We have one eviction right now going, and it was from a self-managing landlord that asked us to, step in. And we don't mind taking care of those headaches because we've been doing this for so long. I've been in the industry for 25 years, and you know what? I've seen it all, unfortunately. And so having that documentation, making sure, yes, I am going to be moving forward with the eviction. I wouldn't post the notice myself, especially since California has just changed the 3-day notices. Probably the notice that you've been using for the last 2 years is not valid. It's probably void. So make sure that you do have the latest 3-day notices. You could get it from the Apartment Association, the San Diego Apartment Association, the California Association of Realtors, but you probably shouldn't have those forms unless you are a realtor. But make sure you are using the proper notice. But in my personal opinion, I would have your lawyer post it. Not just the lawyer that does probate, somebody that specializes in tenant-landlord laws. Have them use their process server, have them make the notice, and you know that on the 4th, they are going to be posting this notice. And you know that you are going to stop payment unless payment is in full. Because if they do $50 into your bank then that notice that was owed for $9,000 is void because you collected that $50. So be careful that when you collect the income that you mandated it in full. And also be careful if they are paying to you directly because you thought, hey, I'll just give them my bank account and they could just log in and they could just go to Wells Fargo and deposit that $3,000 and all is kosher because I'm a busy working professional and that's going to make my life easy. Well, that wasn't really the smartest move. It wasn't. It truly wasn't, because they could very easily go into your bank account and deposit that $50, and that completely nulls and voids the 3-day notice that you paid a lawyer $385 to post. If you allow a resident to pay by direct deposit into your bank account and they have that information, I would do a change of terms on your lease agreement now to make sure that they're not allowed to do that. But you have to make sure that you're eyeing your bank statements daily, because if they do that $50, you need to send it out right away to hopefully not null and void the 3-day notice that was posted. So have a lawyer, tenant landlord lawyer, take care of it once a resident hasn't paid and they have decided to put their head in the sand and not communicate. Obviously, you could allow them to do a payment plan. You could speak with them, but just put it in writing. But just understand, if you're altering the lease in any way and allowing that 10th of the month to be their start date or end date, then the lease that you originally had for rents due on the 1st, late on the 3rd might not be valid. It might now be rents due on the 1st, late on the 10th. So document, understand that oral and written communication is deemed liable and valid. So you never want to have hearsay be part of going to court. Be completely transparent with your lawyer. Don't try to do it yourself, because if your 3-day notice was not the newest standard agreement and you used the Joe Smo 3-day agreement that you found online and posted it and then filed that with the court, well, it's probably going to take you 6 months to go to the courthouse, because we only have one judge right now in the county. One judge in the county. Do you know how crazy that is? There's a lot of people that live here. One judge. So let's not make that happen. Let's make sure that you're smart. You're treating it like a business. Hire a professional, whether it's a property manager to come in to hopefully take everything to the finish line using a lawyer, or just go straight to the lawyer and have the lawyer do it. Give them the retainer and peace of mind. But don't let it drag on. Treat it like a business. Learn from your mistakes, right? Solve and evolve. And yeah, sorry that you guys are going through it. My name's Danielle, owner-broker, Beyond Property Management, fellow real estate investor like you guys. I love being a landlord, but unfortunately, I have seen people take advantage of everything. So trust no one, document everything, and yeah, nice to meet you.